It's not, like Nas said, it ain't hard to tell. I don't know why you're confused. But glad to know that we got it together. Yo, what up? Episode 73 of the Collective Podcast. I am AC from LA. He is Saucier Senior. And I'm gonna tell you how funny the brother Trey is. Trey and I have now made plans to go to a baseball game. I told y'all we'd be talking baseball. We're going to a baseball game. He says to me, and it's a tender moment. He says to me, "Can't wait to hang out with my bro." He gives me the black fist. I give him the black fist back. I give it about 30 seconds. Then I say, "Podcast tonight at 8:30." Radio silence. So guess what? It's all good. I do not have to continue to expect him to ever make a comeback because basically Brianna told us that it was like this. She said he just doesn't want to be there and he doesn't know how to tell you. So all good. I'll take him off of all of the invites. I won't even mention the podcast anymore. If he wants to support, he can support. If he doesn't want to support, hey, no big deal. And again, when we turn the corner, like I said, like I keep saying, we clearly started off with too much cargo. So all good. All good. So Rodney, you are broadcasting from where?
Live from Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore, Maryland. What up, Dietrich? Are we looking for a replacement? No, we're really not. We like to. We just wanted to give Cass a shot at coming back. If they wanted to come back. But we're not averse to having guest hosts. So, and you've been rocking with us. So whenever you want to come, just let us know. We can plan it out. But permanently speaking, we're not looking for that. I just want to give my boy a shot. Mike Tillery is alive and well and doesn't give a fuck about the Collective Podcast. Like, he's posted mad shit every day and hasn't looked back. So he's not invited back. But, now Trey's not either. But Trey was invited back. So I just want to be clear. He was invited back multiple times and only responded the first time and said he would try. And then later on, he told me he had the boys that night, so he couldn't. Now, listen, he's been a parent longer than me. I get it. However, Kayla's here with me right now. It's just Kayla and I. And it's been Braylon and Kayla and I. And I could still do the podcast. So, but it's because I want to. So I'm here. So whatever. Shout out episode 73. That's my man, Rod. Don't worry about him being centered. He likes the off-centered look. If you check facebook.com and look for Old Man Rod, you'll see that he is. And his explanation was, and I gotta kill you for this. His explanation was, I cropped someone out of the picture. My response is, you cropped someone out of the picture that was on your left, but you have mad space on your right. You could still recrop the picture, and it just be you, and you could be in the middle. Refuse.
There was a row of us, and that's how it ended up with
Rodney.
Like
it's
that.
Called cropping.
There were left and right.
Okay, so maybe you can't do, when you look at that picture, maybe you don't know how to crop because you have an Android, or maybe you're just beyond it. But because that is your profile picture, Elaine's a little off-center too. But so maybe that's an Android thing. But anyway, shout out to Elaine. By the way, Elaine, man overboard, Rodney Saucier Jr. is now an iPhone user. Yeah. So all that Android for life crap, Wait, isn't your daughter, Elaine, an iPhone user? Now that I think of it, check that for us, Elaine. Good evening, though. Good evening.
He's below the belt. He's going to the kids to swing below the belt.
No, it's not below the belt. It's above the belt because they know better. iPhones. By the way, Kayla told me to tell you her iPhone is lovely. She's 3. Okay. I'm just saying. All right. Episode 73. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a podcast to step through. Think of how many week pods you slept through. Time's up. I'm sorry I kept you. Episode 73. We're back. Rod is in Baltimore, Maryland. He's near Morgan State. And tell us why, Rod. Tell us why.
I brought my son here so he can attend college at Morgan State University.
So, shout out to Morgan State. That's where my mom started her college journey, and that's where my homegirl Grace played softball.
Yep, he is Morgan State Bear.
Yeah. Congratulations, Rod Saucier Jr.
Very
She went to
gratifying.
the dark. She went to the dark side. She went to the dark side in when did she graduate? 2014, 15? She been on the she left the dark side. Be clear. She left the dark side. Unless the dark side is positive, because she is an iPhone user. And I know this because she was working the table at a tournament that I was working years and years and years ago. Years and years and years ago. Just want to point that out. See? 2000, yeah. I was talking about from high school, so 2013. Yeah. So it's been quite a while. Yeah. iPhone. Bam. Okay, Ryan, what you got?
Man, I just walked in and caught the tail end of that Kobe documentary. It just kind of rehashed things all over again with his death, and it's that's one I can't get over, man. It's rough.
I don't know about the documentary, Rod.
So there was a documentary about Kobe on ABC tonight. I got it on my DVR. I had my DVR set at home and didn't realize it was tonight. But I walked in on like the last 45 minutes of it. So it kind of chronicled his life, basically, as far as his playing career, the Colorado case, him being able to fly back and forth and go to court, how he was feeling when it was going on, with it being dismissed. And well, let me backtrack. It wasn't actually dismissed. The prosecuting attorney dropped the case, didn't go forward with it. And the victim
Not victim,
accuser. You're right. And I was actually going to precede that with alleged victim, but you're right. At this point, accuser, because the case is over, refused to testify. So they had no case, and that was that. And then they had the civil case, and they settled. And they talked about how he rebranded himself through all of that, switching numbers and, the Black Mamba, the shoes, everything. He just completely switched gears and went through the roof. And it's something that I guess no player before or after actually was able to survive and still go forward the way he did. Because once that stigma gets on you with being accused of rape or any kind of domestic situation, it doesn't go anywhere, whether you're innocent or not. People still kind of look at you differently. So, Dietrich, man, you know what? I had dust in my eye all last week, and I had a little dust in my eye giving him a hug tonight, but he was kind of like, okay, you guys can go. And he was good with it. And, I'm like, all right, it will hit him that he can't see me by next week. He was too cool for his own good tonight, but he'll realize, okay, my parents are completely out of the picture now, and I'm here alone. And that happens to pretty much any student who travels across the country for school. And I don't think it would be any different for him. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry. You don't think it'll be any different for him?
No.
Lauren, your daughter just sent me a text on the side, and she said, "You have dust in your eyes because you're 300 years old." So I just want to be clear. Dust in your eyes was an interesting choice of words. Shout out to Lauren. Thanks, Lauren. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, those two, as close as they are, they got super emotional when we got ready to take him to the airport. Um, they're very close. You know, I don't think Zaire realized the I don't know. I guess you can say finality of it. He doesn't realize that Rod's going to be gone for a long time and he won't see him. Um, of course, he knows that Rod is going away to college, but I don't think he understands how much time it will be before he sees him again. So he's called Rod several times already just to tell him just random things. And I don't think that's going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, it was like a funeral at my house when we were getting ready to go to the airport. My mom was there, and Lauren's not a crier. Lauren is pretty much like I am, just kind of, I'm sure at some point she probably broke down when no one was around or something, but at the time she wasn't. But, ooh, it was rough. It was rough. I mean, others may not know, but you know how close my mom and Rod is. And that's like old Mister pulling Celie and Nettie apart to color purple. Like it was rough. They're around each other constantly. So she called and she's like, I'm coming out there to get him. I want him back home. I don't care that he's going to school. He can go to school here. I want him back. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to fly out there without telling you guys. I'm just going to check him out of school and bring him home.
Or you could just go hang out there. Oh,
and
she can't leave the flock.
Yeah, and she might. I mean, I don't know with her. She could secretly fly to Maryland and set up in a hotel room and be here for weeks without saying anything. So, that's I don't know. Rod is kind of like the backbone of our immediate family. He
Mm-hmm.
he is, and I don't think he realizes that, but he definitely is. We depend on him a lot for a lot of things. So, but he seems to be in good spirits. He seems to be ready to go to school. It's I don't know what to say. It's more than a parent could ever ask for. It's hard because we're gonna miss him, but it's gratifying at the same time. Because I'm just blessed to have a child who actually, wants to do something with his life. I didn't have some of the issues that other parents have where, he gang banged or he comes home smelling like weed all the time and I don't know where he is for hours at a time. I didn't go through any of that with my son. He was a good kid. It was hard to get him to keep his work done, in certain parts of school, and was always fussing at him about, cleaning up or what he was wearing, because he still wants to live in t-shirts and basketball shorts every day. That part didn't change, but he seems to be maturing at the right time. Um, so I'm happy with that.
All right, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Elaine's been through it, so she says
Thank
just be proud.
you. Yeah. And just, the thought of him being so far away but this is not the Baltimore I remember. This is the
The
new,
Baltimore that you created when you created the state of Maryland? No, it's not, right?
when I left, it still looked like The Wire over here. And now, I mean, with Johns Hopkins being right up the street and Towson being only a few miles away. They're super gentrifying the city as they are in DC, and everything's lit up over here. Morgan State's a state university, so they're getting a lot of funding, and they're building basically a whole nother campus right now. They have construction sites going on with 3 or 4 huge brand new buildings on campus, and more housing. And so, that was a concern about him being in a place where I would have to be concerned with his safety. And I just don't even feel that anymore. They're pretty much putting everything in place where he doesn't really even have to leave the campus. They're building a new Chick-fil-A, so I know I don't have to worry about him. He will be fine. But now it's Lauren's turn, so we're gonna see how she does at Poly and not having her brother around and playing basketball, running track, and doing things she does. So hopefully she'll excel. And she desires to go to Howard, so it's only a 40-minute drive from here. So if they are that close together, that's a great thing. I'd be cool with that.
Wow. You didn't know all this would happen when you founded Planet Earth, huh?
No.
Congrats, man.
I just spun the globe around and tried to figure out where it would stop and I would live. I'll let you tell it.
Man, I just want to say congrats. Let's see what Miss Lady has to say. Hold on.
Before the internet, energy is one city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Some place to be nobody. All my time is spent focused on my freedom now. Why would I join them when I know that I can beat them now? They put their words on me and they can eat them now. That's probably why they keep on telling me I'm needed now. They try to box me out while taking what they want from me. I spent too many years living too uncomfortably, making room for people who didn't like the labor, who wanted the spoils, greedy, selfish behavior. Now let me give it to you balanced and with clarity. I don't need to turn myself into a parody. I don't do the shit you do for popularity. They clearly didn't understand when I said I get out apparently. My awareness like Keanu in the Matrix. I'm saving souls and y'all complain about my lateness. Now it's illegal for someone to walk in greatness. They want the same, but they don't take risks. Now the world will get to see its own reflection, and the anointed can pursue their own direction. And if you're wrong and you're too proud to hear correction, walk into the hole you dug yourself up a projection. See me in my freedom taking all my land back. They said a lot against me thinking I just stand back. I got my legs beneath me, I got my hands back. A lot of people sabotaged, they couldn't stand that. I turned the other cheek, I took blow after blow. There's so much crisis in the world because you reap what you sow. When you keep what you know is meant for someone else, then did you dig for them, you might just end up in yourself. I'm in the secret place, I keep a sacred space. They keep showing their hands, but keep hiding their face. If I'm a messenger, you block me, then you block the message. So aggressive, the world you made is what you're left with. Pride and ego over when truth is fuck reckless. Y'all niggas got a death wish, the stupid leaves me breathless.
Man, welcome back, Lauren Hill. And then she'll disappear again. But she blessed us with that, so thank you. That's Ms. Lauren Hill on a track called Nobody by Nas on King's Disease 2. It's track 9. Yeah. First verse in a long time. And she let y'all know I'm saving souls and y'all complain about my lateness. Can you imagine saving souls and them complaining about your lateness? Go ahead, Ms. Lauren Hill. Go ahead. Woo! Just she's dope. Super dope. All right. Anyway, Yeah, so as I told you earlier, looks like I'm going to a Dodger game with the missing in action Trey Hop. We will not talk about the podcast. um, and it is what it is. It won't be uncomfortable because we have plenty to catch up on, but it'll be funny. Um, it is on a Sunday, and it's the Sunday before my season starts. So it's 2 weeks from now on Sunday, if you will. So yeah, man. So speaking of, oh, go ahead.
So we can just jump right into those Dodgers. They're winning. They're taking care of the teams that they're supposed to take care of. Um, I'm just still scared at the ninth inning. Every time a certain person gets on the mound to close it out, I cringe.
So do you think that he's now doing it just to mess with you? Like,
He may be.
do you think that he's like he has your number, Rod, and it's like, let me make
He,
Rod sweat.
he just may be doing that just out of spite.
Here's what we're talking about, y'all, because this is why I ask. Last night, the Dodgers were up 4-2, and he went in to close the game, and somehow, some way, he walked one batter and gave up 2 hits. So he had 3 base runners in the top of the ninth. 3 base runners with a 4-2 lead. One of them did score, but he managed to shut the rest down and escaped with a 4-3 save. But it is interesting. And he hasn't blown a save in a while, but he does make it interesting, like I said.
Very interesting.
Like the other night, he made it so interesting. He went in a non-save opportunity and gave up a couple of runs and got a save. And then another time he went in and gave up some runs but shut it down and then got the win. So he does really sometimes make it interesting. I don't think he's pitching tonight because they're doing really well. They're up 7-0 right now. But let's just say it were 7-0 in the ninth. It's almost like he goes up there and says, I have this many runs to play with, so I can give up 6.
And he will give up 6. And with a man on third, he will strike out the next 3 and get the save.
Yeah. I mean, my man is crazy turning in a non-save opportunity into a save opportunity. But anyway, or into a save. So the Giants have been outpacing the Dodgers. Like you said, the Dodgers have been winning, and so have the Giants. And finally, the Giants failed today in extra innings. And in the 12th inning, the Mets went nuts and wound up scoring 4 and winning 6-2. So the Dodgers picked up a half game on them, and if they can just win the game, then they will have a whole game. If they lose it, then they give the half game back. But Max Muncy, not to be confused with my Munchie, has 5 RBI tonight. He's got 5 of the 7 runs batted in. So he's on a rampage. So
he's a beast.
Yeah. Dodgers, it's funny. I can say with conviction they're the best team in baseball, even though they don't have the best record. That's just how it works sometimes. But the Giants are definitely the second best team in baseball. And they would argue they're the best. Rod's godbrother came back this week, and I don't know what the hell he eats. Like, does he eat like some kind of Wheaties with Tapatio, or like what the fuck is Fernando Tatis Jr. eating, dude? This motherfucker came back and hit 2 home runs playing right field. They won that night. They lost. I mean, they're not on a rampage. They lost last night. I'm not sure what they're doing today, but they were 6 games behind the Dodgers, and now they're 8.5 behind the Dodgers. So they're not keeping pace, and I'm good with that. But yeah, Fernando Tatis Jr. is a beast. But listen, he came back, like I said. and then they've lost all 3 games since he came. Like, he came back and they won, and then they lost the next 3. And with the Dodgers winning 5 in a row, they were able to pick up 3 games on them. So, like I said, they went from 6 games up to 8.5, and I guess it would be 9. So that would be the 3 games that they picked up. So, yeah, love the Dodgers. And Dietrich's excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, well, let's see what Kenley does. Hopefully, he'll get it together and not make it so gut wrenching every time he comes out. Because if it's a 2-1 game, he just automatically, like last week, he just automatically gives up a double right off the rip.
Yeah.
And then walks a guy. And then he'll strike out a guy and then get a double play and the game's over. But it's like way too much on your heart when he does that. I can't take it.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Tampa Bay has the 3rd best record in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But they're tied with someone. Not the Dodgers. The Dodgers are alone in 2nd.
Right.
Tampa Bay is tied with someone. Do you have any idea who it is? I didn't. I didn't realize. Now, this team is 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. But they are tied with Tampa Bay for the 3rd best record in baseball.
Is it Oakland?
No, not only isn't it Oakland, but Oakland is 2.5 behind Houston. And Houston, let's see, how many games? Houston is, 6, 9, 4.5 games behind that team with the 3rd best record. So, no.
Not Boston?
Okay, so you want to talk about the American League East? No. And, we don't care about the American League East. I used to. But listen, Boston, let me explain to you what just happened. Boston was up on the Yankees by 2 games yesterday morning. Then they had a doubleheader, and they were tied because they lost both of them. Then they lost tonight. Now they are a game back of the Yankees. So you talk about handling business head-to-head. That's exactly what the Yankees did yesterday and today. So the Yankees are a game up on Boston. So, no, it's not Boston. It's not the Yankees. It's not anybody in the American League East. It's a National League team.
Let me see. It's not San Diego. It's...
Yeah, not even close.
Not Philly.
No. So if you would have told me National League, I would have guessed Atlanta because I know they lead Philly. I know they lead the NL East. No. So what does that leave? It's the NL Central team, and I didn't know who led the NL Central. It's Milwaukee. Yeah, Milwaukee is 74-47, and Tampa is 74-47. So they're tied for 3rd. Okay. And I think that's only a half game behind the Dodgers. But again, the Dodgers have been overcoming adversity. So yeah, and that's right now. That's a half game back. But if the Dodgers win, it will be a whole game. So well, yeah, Dietrich, the Yankees have had a really good second half. And by the way, they're still 5 games back because Tampa leads the American League East. So they were 10 games back of the lead. But they've had a really good second half. Like, since the All-Star break, they've been going nuts. Like, they almost have this. I mean, this is not true, but they almost have as many wins as in the second half as they had in the first half, and we still have 6 weeks to play in the season. That's not the case, but they just have a really, really, really good win percentage since the All-Star game. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But Tampa Bay is not. I mean, they gave up some ground, but they've only given up 1 game to the Yankees in the last 10. So they're not gaining ground on them. They picked up 4 over the last 10 on Boston, 3 between yesterday and today. But, and then, of course, Baltimore is the worst team in baseball. They've lost.
So now, does the Yankees have their all their studs playing together at the same time right now? Because we don't even hear about Giancarlo Stanton anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in Miami just ripping the baseball apart, and then he got to the Yankees and got injured, and it was kind of like he was a forgotten guy. I mean, he was
Well,
arguably the best player in baseball at one time.
well, he's arguably still the best player on the Yankees, but I think that once people found out he was black, he just stopped dominating the headlines. And maybe people on this podcast, not you, but I mean people watching and listening, didn't know that Giancarlo Stanton is black. And by the way, he's the same person that used to go by Mike Stanton. But yeah, he's been doing his thing. Like I don't know why he hasn't been in the news, and he has had some injuries, but he's the best player on that team, and that's interesting when you have Judge. But I mean, Judge is not a great defender, and Stanton does play defense, and he's definitely solid offensively. And then obviously Aroldis Chapman is a great closer, but he's fallible. He's not reached Mariano Rivera, Lee Smith, Dennis Eckersley status. But he's working on it. And of course, I don't want him to get there because Rodney talking about a Yankees-Dodgers World Series. So I don't want to see a Yankees closer because I want them to be behind every game. So, I don't want to see anybody's closer in the World Series except for Kenley. I mean, like our closer, that's it. And I don't necessarily want to see. Here's the thing. And if we're up enough, it's not a closing opportunity, so we don't even need to see Kenley.
Right. So, I just need to see maybe a hold or two, and
yeah,
I don't know.
4 holds. Yeah. Yeah. All good. So yeah, Dodgers working it. Draymond came out and actually he said this some time ago, but he rehashed it on his own show called Chips. He had Durant on as a guest, and they talked about the rift between the two of them on court that became public, and they both said that it was mishandled by Steve Kerr and Bob Myers, and that led to Durant leaving. I like to think that Durant just likes to change teams when he loses in the final. I mean, when he loses late in the playoffs. But, I mean, I guess he can shoot that myth down because he re-signed this time with, I keep wanting to call them New Jersey, with Brooklyn. Which is funny because now people are saying that they're the favorite to win. And I don't know, Rod. What do you think?
I don't agree with that. Because Klay Thompson is the glue of that team, and we do not know how he's going to come back. That's just that's too much to put on them, and they don't have the same supporting cast that they once had.
Wait, no, Rod. I said no. Back up. Brooklyn. I'm talking about Brooklyn. They said Brooklyn is the favorite.
Oh, okay. Well, I can see why people would pick Brooklyn to be the favorite when you got Durant on the floor with Kyrie Irving and James Harden. I mean, like,
we just danced that dance.
Well, yeah, but they didn't all play, so I think they're saying that with all of them being healthy.
When does that ever happen? Two of them are oft injured.
Right.
OFT, for those of you that don't understand what I'm saying.
And I can understand their pick. I may not agree with it, but I can understand it.
Well,
but we know that Kyrie may be in Lake Havasu with Cedric Ceballos at one point, and I don't know. Kyrie, you don't know what Kyrie may do at any point in the season or playoffs. So, I'm not a believer.
Speaking of Cedric, his sister Tammy is my homegirl, and she actually hit me on LinkedIn yesterday to comment on Kayla. So shout out to Tammy Ceballos. and Cedric for that matter. Did you ever listen to Best Kept Secret, NBA's Best Kept Secret?
No.
The CD, do you know what I'm talking about?
I've heard of it.
Dude, that's the CD with like the NBA players rapping, like back then, when like Cedric was on there. And there was no, I mean, Shaquille, I think Shaquille might have been on it, but it didn't matter. Like it wasn't his You Can't Stop the Rain featuring Biggie, which is an amazing song, by the way. That beat.
What was Cedric Sabalos's? Was his single called "Flow On"? Who had a song called "Flow On"? It was Cedric Sabalos, right?
That's a good question, and that I don't have the answer to. Let's see. Maybe. Let's look it up. Cedric Sabalos. You trying to know the name of the single? That is hilarious. Yep, Flow On with Cedric Sabalos and Warren G.
Bam, man.
Warren G. Well, that's your people. 213. We should have known. I'm trying to flow on. Shit.
Wow.
Now what Lucian was before, it's the mad punk kicking rough stuff, quick dump, nigga back to funk gun. Yeah, give a nigga room, yeah, give a nigga.
Boy, that sounds very nice.
Boy, he's saying the N-word a lot. Deuce Trey. He said he the real Deuce Trey. Fuck Jordan.
Ooh.
Try to take mine. You start to wonder. I know your name is Stevie. Don't think about it, fool, cause you know you can see me 23. The numbers on the tip of your tongue. I got ends and you can't have them. So he
did a little thing like Warren G. So listen, 23 is on the tip of your tongue. Mind you, this is at a time when Michael Jordan is prevalent in the league. But Cedric Sabalos is telling us that 23 is on the tip of our tongue because of him. So shout out to Cedric, because if you don't believe it, no one will. I need y'all to understand that.
Right.
Shout out to Cedric Sabalos. Shit.
Said was putting it down for his. He went for 50 a couple nights.
Yeah. I mean, and he played for the purple and gold, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? All right.
Oh, man, I'm just tripping. I haven't heard that song since I don't know. I can't even remember when it came out. Like 91? No, it wasn't 91. That would have been his rookie year, I think. So it came out somewhere around 95 or 96, I'm guessing. Somewhere in there.
2000.
That's when it came out? Wow, later than I thought.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was during the death row years.
G-Funk Way of Life, Ghetto Hits. Oh, maybe this is a compilation. So maybe it in and of itself did come out before that. So let me see.
Oh, okay.
That's a Warren G. I thought that was actually Warren G's album. So let me see when it came out. Flow On, Cedric. But don't give it to me on Warren G's thing. Yeah, it's not telling me when and where. These are the things that happen. Oh, well.
They really need to do a who's who of different people Warren G has produced. Because no one would believe some of the people he's produced.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who remembers Cedric Sabalos with Warren G? Like, that's a trivia question for a lot of people. But he's produced Pink. He's produced quite a few different people that no one knows. So he stays, even though he's not in the limelight per se anymore with his own music, he's always working.
Yeah.
Always working. And then he has his barbecue sauce, Sniffin' Griffins. He loves being on the grill.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you fan of Warren G, you go to his Instagram page or something. He's got his links and stuff in his bio. And I haven't tasted the sauce yet, but I heard it's pretty good.
Okay. Well, I forgot to post these comments, so let's get caught up. And then I'm going to comment on what you just said. Not going to happen for Brooklyn. Yeah, I mean, they got to go through Milwaukee in the East. NBA album, Basketball Banging on Wax. Never heard Flow on. That one got by me. All right, cool. Wait, but there was something called, was it Ballers Best Kept Secrets? Best Kept Secret? Hold on. Because it was definitely called Best Kept Secret. Ballers Best Kept Secret.
You know what? We may have to have an NBA battle where we create a tree and we put a single from an NBA player against another single from an NBA player until we crown the champion. We may have to do that.
So it's just one single from each?
I mean, some people have more than one. So Shaq has several.
So I think I think that the Damian Lillard is the best, but I think that Shaq's Can't Stop the Rain for me will probably beat everybody else's NBA song.
Well, but Shaq may have to go against Shaq in the end. I mean, like, put them on different sides of the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're just talking about one song, I think Shaq's gonna win. For me, nothing can top Can't Stop the Rain as a one song battle.
Well, my favorite Shaq is the one with he and DJ Quick. I like Playing on the West Side. What's I forgot the name of the song.
Oh, that.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, yeah, that's not. Let me play something for you. Let me school you.
Stop the Rain is good.
It's not just good.
It's good.
It's not just good. And you talking about that?
But working with DJ Quick is magical.
Yeah, okay, but Rod, come on. Let's not play this game.
And Damian Lillard has the tightest lyrics, but I don't know if he has the tightest songs.
Well, again, if we're just doing one song, he ain't gonna get it.
And now, does it have to be their song, or can it be them featured on someone else's song? Is it like Versus, where anything that they're connected with? Because you got Kobe and Brian McKnight.
Listen, I'm not a Shaq fan since he left, but you got to give it to this. You got to give it to the big fella.
You can't stop it, block it, when I drop it.
Anytime I go line for line on a topic, they didn't even fit the step in Shaq's arena.
I look inside your mind and I see your
demeanor.
in your eyes.
Why are you surprised?
No matter how you try, not fly as eloquence. The new edition. This is the end
Of your last night,
in the daytime.
you couldn't see me with a flashlight.
I crash lights on sights of my enemy. I'm coming through and then I'll bomb your
Whole vicinity.
Why the activate your jet? You're not a friend to me. I beat your card, you're not as hard as
You pretend to be
Who wanna spark it with the chocolate?
macadamia.
Ain't clean to the cranium.
Woo-hoo!
Aim to maintain money on the brain.
Can't stop the rain. Woo-hoo! Listen, you will never hear me big up Shaq for anything since he left the Lakers. But everything
you gotta play a snippet of Kobe and Brian McKnight, because Kobe did his thing, and that song was tight and was on the charts.
Okay. What's it called? Hold Me?
Say it again.
Hold Me?
I think so.
All right, hold on. I thought you wanted me to play that the Shaq Quick song you wanted to.
You can play a snippet of that too. I mean, we can give everybody a sample and you know, but we can make a versus battle out of this or some kind of playoff tree to see who lasts.
Yeah, I'm down with that. It is called Hold Me. All right, let's go.
You probably have to kind of skip to his verse though. He's somewhere in the middle. And they had a video with Kobe getting his groove on with the honeys.
Come on, man. You put in an entry that you can't even find Kobe. Come on, bruh.
He's definitely there.
I believe you. That's my guy. Just not as a rapper. But I'll find it. Go ahead. All right, hold on. Let's get caught up. I'm gonna play it in a second. So he said, "Banging on wax." We got through that. Have I heard any of Dame's records? Yeah, that's why I said I think that collectively it would be him. Hey, Cobbs, what up, brother?
Yeah, Dietrich, he did have two. He may have even had more than two, but two that they played a lot on the radio for sure. With Quick.
Go ahead,
But
Rod. I'm trying to find.
it's hard to overcome a quick beat though. I mean, that's too hard to do. And let me see. Brian McKnight had nothing but stars in his video with Kobe. J.R. Ryder. I mean, like basically half the NBA is in that video with that song. What is the name of it? It's not Hold Me. Is that it? There you go. I knew you'd find it. You Mr. Technology.
Wait, you want me to put him in for 8 bars?
What, did you play his whole verse?
Well, I played the whole part of him. Like once we saw him.
Well, I mean, that's
My bad. This is a kid-friendly show. You think if they let Matt Barnes in this video, he'll want to fight D-Fish? Shout out to Matt Barnes. Go Bruins.
So sweet, blood boils when you speak, it makes me weak, but I refuse to weep. Yet when I sleep, I feel tears trickling down my cheek. Stay strong, pride telling me move on. My heart's fighting me, forcing me to hold on. Yours forever, feel for you beyond measure, pure as ever. Lord pays my sins of treasure.
Okay, that was fly.
okay.
That was fly.
Yeah. You can't forget, Allen Iverson got a whole album.
What are we doing, dude? What are we doing? Just
Better known as Jules. Was that his rap name, Jules? And then he got in trouble for releasing the first single with talking about pulling guns out and shooting people. I'm sure everyone remembers that. That was a hot topic. So he must be pulling up a song, but we definitely have to have this. We can make these songs go head up and see who comes out on top. It could be Shaq versus Shaq, or be be someone different. Ron Artest has music. I don't think I've heard it, but he has music. So he can be somewhere on the tree, but we can just constantly pull music up by NBA players and let them go head up and see who comes out on top and do a bracket challenge. We gotta make that happen. That should be fun. And I can't see the comments. So if you guys are commenting, we have to wait till AC comes back. Give him a second to click back in. Not sure what happened. Yeah, so my son, speaking of basketball, asked me, is Morgan State's basketball team pretty good? And told him, yeah, man, you got to do research on your school. You know, they recently had Todd Bozeman, who used to coach in the Bay at Cal. And they made it to the dance under Todd Bozeman. Didn't take long. He turned the program around, and then he left, and now they have Juan Dixon, former University of Maryland Terp, national champ, I think in year 2000, under Gary, coach's name, Gary, can't think of the last name, but he was pretty good. But Juan Dixon, Steve Blake, that team was like a kind of a Cinderella. And they got that championship, they got that title, so Juan Dixon can do no wrong in the state of Maryland. And he's a local guy from the Maryland, DC area. So I told my son to go out and check the team out and see if he likes them. Got a chance to watch a little bit of the football practice today for a couple of minutes and see them, run some plays. It's like, ooh, I'm ready to be on the field now.
You talking about that Morgan?
Yeah.
That's a nice little field. I've worked on it before.
It is a nice field.
Referee and center judge.
Yeah, it is a very nice field. And I mean, they've had severe weather on the East Coast because of Hurricane Fred. So, the few minutes I was watching, it started pouring down rain and lightning, but they never stopped. They just kept going on like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And 15, 20 minutes later, it was dry again, and they kept practicing. So yeah, it's enough to get the juices flowing.
All right, let's get caught up. Shout out to Cobbs, welcome. Shout out to Jimmy Mack, welcome. And Jimmy Mack is not shouting us out. He's talking about the refs in the video. Be clear. He's talking about the ones in the video. Kobe had the track with Tyra, boom boom. And then of course Jimmy Mack. I don't know. I love the guy. I really don't know what that means. Yeah, so but Cobb says that his favorite is also, or your favorite is also his favorite, Rod.
Yeah.
So shout out to you guys for liking the same track. And I haven't even told you about Houston. Speaking of like crazy weather. So we were 102 on the field on Saturday and 104 on the field on Sunday. And then we had mad lightning delays on Sunday, and then wound up going back on the field in a storm. Well, once the lightning stopped, they didn't care about the rain, so we were back out there working in the rain. So it's a very interesting situation in Houston. And if you ask me if I prefer the heat or the rain, when you're talking about Houston, I preferred the rain. So
Yeah,
last,
and I'm sure it was quite humid.
I'll be in there. All right, come on, come on. All right, good night, baby.
There she is. She wants to say hi.
Say bye to everybody.
Bye.
Look right here. Look it up. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Okay.
Hey, Kayla.
Love you. Go get in the bed. Sorry. Go get in the bed. Love you. Kayla, close my curtain. Go get in the bed. In the bed. Okay. All right. Leave it alone now. It's fine. Yeah, Houston was crazy. So, yeah. Were there any officials out there, or they just had a practice with no
Just
officials?
had a practice.
Okay.
Yeah. But they were contact. They were full pads,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going hard. So that was good to see.
So you ready to get back out there? You say?
Ready,
That's what's
ready.
up.
Yeah. College football is just a whole different vibe, man. It's just it's faster, which is a good thing. And by the time they get to college, they really know how to play. At that point, it's just a matter of size and strength, you know. But they really know how to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
This is
and I
true.
guess a big part of that is because their awareness level has jumped, several degrees from high school to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely hope so.
Yeah, for the most part.
Awareness. And then one thing that we get, or one thing that they get out here at the JC level, which is kind of um, unparalleled around the country, is a whole bunch of kids that should be playing Division One are out here playing junior college,
Right,
just to right the ship
right.
for 2 years. So
Yeah. Uh, any of the Dietrich, field judge, side judge, and back judge. Um, I like being on the deep sides, but started at back judge, so really doesn't matter.
so in Houston, we didn't have a back judge. We just had field judge, side judge, essentially, and it was okay because that's all we had. But I definitely prefer being in the middle of the field, as you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I saw Wiggs out there getting beat like Elvis Toast Patterson back in the day. They picked on him one too many times, and he stepped in front of that thing and picked it off. I don't know what was going on with his QB's arm. He couldn't throw a simple out route more than 6 yards. And I don't know. It was like he had nerve damage or something the way he was throwing the ball. He couldn't reach anybody.
Yeah, that whole thing was interesting. Like that, I want to say that there was. I would never say the team name, but there's a team that was there that was also in Indianapolis that couldn't figure out. Like some people didn't know how to play man defense, so they were playing man, but the guy kept thinking that there was some kind of zone, and so he kept letting his receiver go to no one, and he kept getting beaten over the top.
Wow.
And they kept telling him, and he's like, "Nah, we're playing zone." And it was sad how they would like yell at each other on the field and all of that. So,
I can imagine. But it's money at stake. I mean,
yeah.
you got some guys that are hard up for that money. That they might owe some bills or child support or whatever. They trying to get it. They don't have
Oh yeah.
time for somebody to be, messing around and talking about we in zone when everyone else is man, like you might get jumped for that.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and I don't know if they did or didn't, but yeah, definitely. Hold on a second. How do I get out of this? I'm about to transition. Give me one. Give me one sec. One sec. One sec. All I need is one mic.
Yeah, but you can look at some of the players and tell that they probably played at a high level at one time. Um, oh, lost him again.
No, I told you I was transitioning.
Oh, okay.
You weren't listening.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So I'm back. Hold on. Let me fix this curtain. Kayla always messes it up for some reason. Hold on. All right. What else do we need to get to? Do we need? Wait, I didn't fix it. Oh, she's messed it up on the other side too. Goodness gracious. You
Well,
can. Hey, yeah.
we can
Talk.
finally stop. We can finally stop talking about the Tim Tebow experiment because apparently he was cut the other day.
Yay! Goodbye, Tim Tebow.
So someone had a discussion on social media about why did Tim Tebow get a second chance, and you know, my thinking was if I was a coach and got in a good situation, I would probably give a shot to certain people that may not have deserved it. Um, it could be, if you have a son and he's my godson, I might say, hey, AC, you know what? I'm gonna give little AC a shot. Like, send him over to me. The other teams may not want him, but I'm gonna at least put him on the 85 man roster and see if he can make the cut. You never know what happens. Of course, you're gonna look out for certain people. He looked out for his guy. Um, I don't think that was a racial thing or anything that some people made it out to be. I just think that he's a college coach who was close to his quarterback and looked out for whatever reason. And it's hard for me to blame him for that. Now, would that take a position away from somebody else? Yes. But I mean,
Wait, who's the coach? Urban Meyer?
Urban Meyer. So, he looked out for his college quarterback. Can't fault him for that. Say it again.
So it was Urban Meyer. It was Urban Meyer.
Yes.
When did he take over for Spurrier?
Uh,
So was Urban Meyer Chris Leak's coach? Wait, did they share Tebow or was it all Meyer for Tebow?
yeah. No, they shared the position.
No. No. Did Spurrier and Meyer share Tebow, or was Meyer there the whole time for Tebow? I know that Chris Leak
Meyer was there the whole time for Tebow.
To Tebow. Okay.
Yeah.
Did Tim Tebow win a national championship as a quarterback? I know that Chris Leak did.
Yeah, that's when they split.
So no, fuck that. That was Chris Leak's championship. Even though there's a fucking statue of Tim Tebow, excuse me for cursing. That stuff gets on my nerves, man. Gets on my nerves. Gets on my nerves. Whatever. All right. What else? What do we need to get to? He looked bad in that game. Wait, Dietrich, was he just not running the routes? Because I heard that he only had one target. So, how did he look bad with one target? Did he just look out of place, or? And how do you know who the first cut was from 90 to 85? They cut 5 people. Like, he was literally the first one, the first of the 5. You're so mean. You're so mean. What's your name, AC? Well, because I'm not a damn Tim Tebow fan. But yeah, bring him to camp. I mean, I don't know. You make it interesting because if you're doing math, and I've done math before, I've done math as a center judge, and I've been dead wrong. When you bring in extra numerators, shit gets fucked up. You thinking, okay, I'm next in line, or I'm in this down line, and then Tim Tebow comes in, and then boom, you're out as center judge. I've been there, so I don't know. If you don't think that he is even in the mix, so you think that you're going to make this at least training camp roster, and then you don't, that's gotta suck.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They make you give all that gear back, like everything, even the shorts and all that. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But nepotism is alive and well. It always has been in any profession. It's not just sports. I mean, but it's especially sports. I mean, look at how many
Look how many shows you slept through. Oh,
yeah. I mean, look how many kids, have coaching jobs whose dad made sure that they got a job in the NFL. You can go around the league of those we know of and those we don't realize are, have family members on teams as position coaches or whatever the case. And those people are the first ones that get a job as a head coach, and that makes sure that a lot of minorities don't get hired, because not only are you competing against guys that are coming in from college who get head jobs at elite schools, but now and then the regular white guys who actually can coach, and now the others whose dad was a coach or whose uncle was a coach. It's a never-ending story. I mean, let's just take, for example, Jimmy Jones owns the Cowboys, and then Stephen Jones runs everything for the Cowboys that his dad doesn't. And I mean, Stephen Jones has kids. What's the likelihood that one of those or two of those boys are not being groomed right now to handle something for the Cowboys in some kind of capacity, whether it's a coaching position, or if they're going to be in management or a potential owner at some point.
So
they're definitely being groomed, and that line is probably going to continue for several lifetimes.
So here's the thing, guys. Rodney built the Ark, and he does not own Ganal Lumber, where our buddy Darren works. And so it's weird for Rod because he didn't think ahead to have stuff for several lifetimes. And maybe because he's still here, I don't know. But here's the thing, Rod. I hear you and I agree with you, but I don't think that the coaching thing and the ownership thing are the same. I think that as an owner, like when you own something, you should get your family in there. And even if they're not capable, you make them capable. And you get them in there and learn the ropes and da-da-da-da. But on the coaching side, so I don't think it's nepotism when you own it.
Yeah, I can go with that.
I may be off with that, but with
I can, yeah. Or even if you don't feel like you may say it the correct way, I understand what you mean.
Okay.
But I didn't know Jim Fassel's son was a coach in the NFL until.
Hey, but let me tell you, and I hear you on that. And let's speak on John Fassel. That dude he's been the special teams coach for the Rams for the whole time that they've been here, and now he's the Cowboys special teams coach. Let me tell you, that dude gets them going. He gets them motivated, and I'm gonna tell you, he's in his element in Dallas now. Because whereas in for the Rams, you don't ever have anybody on a headset or a mic that's one of the coaches. You have an announcer for the Rams practices during training camp. At Cowboys training camp, Fossil had a headset on. He had the Bobby Brown mic, Bobby Brown, Janet Jackson, Sierra mic, and he was announcing what was about to happen. And one of the days he wore an official's jersey when they didn't have officials out there. That dude is having a ball, but he really, from what I see, and I've seen a lot of him on the Rams sideline and in practices, he really cares about his players, and they seem to want to do well for him. So I hate the Cowboys, as you know. So I don't want him to do too well, but I want him to continue to thrive. But yeah, I didn't know Fossil had a son either until I started working the Rams sideline, or until the Rams came to LA. And when I saw him, I wondered. But he's pretty damn good. So, but go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, you know.
But you got to have the opportunity, right, to show that you're good. And
right.
A lot of us don't get that opportunity.
Right. And there are some coaches' sons who turn out they may even be better than their dads, actually. And I don't knock that, you know, but we're never in the position to get that head coaching job so we can groom our kids to do the same thing. Because, you know, if you let us in and we groom our kids to do it, we're going to take over. I mean, simple as that. You know, they're going to start pulling people in, and then it'll be pushback like it is in the regular world when, you know, African Americans are trying to get their spot and their spot at the table. You know, it's always pushback, and it wouldn't be any different if you know, black coaches were in a spot long enough. Like if I guess the longest tenured black coach is Pittsburgh's coach. If he could get his boys and stay there long enough to make sure that his boys, if he has boys, grow up to, you know, start getting shots, you know, that can start a trend for him. But we need more African American coaches to do well, to be able to stick and get their kids in there the same way they have that opportunity. And that's what we don't get. Hopefully this year, with so many, well, more than ever, coaches in the NBA, hopefully that can happen there. Hopefully it can happen somewhere. But, you know, we need to be able to make our stamp too.
Right. Fair. Rasheed Wallace. Nothing. Congratulations, Rasheed Wallace, an assistant coach at Memphis under Anthony Penny Hardaway.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought Rasheed Wallace just started coaching a high school team or something a year ago.
Well,
he got elevated quickly. All right, right on.
He's an assistant at Memphis.
All right on. You know,
and I'm sure he's out there saying, "Do as I say, not as I did." When it comes to like how he reacted to officials and all that, but when you talk about just balling, definitely do as he did. Rasheed Wallace was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Very, very underrated. I mean, extremely underrated, in my opinion.
Yeah, your opinion is fair.
The boy could straight up, he's one of the best to ever do it, and he doesn't get that kind of recognition. No, when people talk about the best power forwards, no one ever breathes Rasheed's name. And not only was he an elite defender, but he'll give you 25 on the other end easily. You know, he was just passive. He wasn't a player that had to be the man, and he gets knocked for that. in an era where they're always talking about and preaching, oh, we need more team ball. We need more team ball. Rashid wasn't the guy who begged for the ball and you got to run my play every play. That wasn't him, but he still got his 20 and 10 every night without that. So if he wanted to put up bigger stats, he easily could have put up bigger stats. I mean, this dude was 6'11", 7 feet long, fast, probably the best lateral movement for a player his size defensively that the league had ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And strong enough to and long enough to guard Karl Malone, Charles Barkley. Like if you pull up film on this dude, he was clamping folks, elite folks, but it just went unnoticed.
Right.
And then he, stepped his game up and started adding a three ball to, I mean, a legitimate 3-point shooter before it was fashionable.
Right.
There was nothing he couldn't do. So, yeah, man, I got much respect for Rasheed Wallace. The dude was a ball player, and he had a his ways, and officials didn't care for him, but I had to go back and look and the same way I look at Draymond Green. Like, is he just yelling to be yelling, or does he yell and actually have a point? And a lot of times when Draymond Green is yelling, I don't like all the time the way he does it, but I know when he does do it, he's actually raising a good point when he's not happy with a call. It's legitimate. He's not just yelling just to get over on people. And I can't say that for everyone else. Other players, they're yelling, and no one touched them and not even got near them. And they're like, hey, you didn't see that foul? And we can say that about some superstars in the league, which shall name, just stay nameless, but
Why? Chris Paul.
LeBron.
Paul.
Um,
Go ahead.
but his complaints are legit, and Rasheed Wallace's complaints were legit. For the most part, yes, there were times where they got hit with fouls, and they actually fouled them. The officials, made the call, and that was the call. It was legit. But there were other times where they actually had legitimate complaints or felt like, well, hey, you let this go and you called this one. We as officials sometimes do that, where we passed on some contact and end up calling a foul on something not as severe. Not saying that the foul wasn't there, but it wasn't as severe. And the players, sometimes gripe about it, and rightly so. But as a competitor, Rashid was on another level, man. And if people actually really did their homework and watched him, just zoomed in on him and watched him play, he was a monster. A monster. I mean, the complete game. You could not stop him in the post. He had that jump hook down to a science, and he would face up and hit you from 15, 20, 25 feet out with no problems. And lock you up on the other end. That's complete.
So Dietrich mentioned that the Bullets had a lot of talent. So for those that don't know, the Wizards were once the Washington Bullets. And if only that name change would have stopped gun violence, boy, that would have been great. And it's interesting how they changed the Bullets to the Wizards, but left the Redskins the Redskins. Obviously a different ownership group, but same area. So really, really weird. Y'all need to get your shit together, Landover, Maryland. Get your shit together. All right, my bad. Yeah, Rasheed Wallace and Juwan Howard for Washington.
They had C Webb. They had Rod Strickland. They have had some talent. They just could never put it together. They could never find the right chemistry with the players. They've always had tough players, and really good players. They just either it was the good team, but the coach was kind of suspect, or a good coach and a team wasn't a great roster. It's always something with the Wizards and former Bullets. And I don't know. I keep thinking one day they may put it together all at the same time, but for some odd reason, and NBA players love coming to DC. I mean, DC was a hangout for NBA players, but they don't want to come and play there and live there. It's just like, I want to kick it there. I want to party there, date all the girls there, and then it's time to go.
Right.
Yeah. And DC is such a nice place to live. I've really never understood that. You'll sign with some place like Seattle or uh even Milwaukee or Phoenix, but you won't sign in DC. Uh, I don't I don't get it, but it is what it is.
I guess he's the line coach. Who was the? Do you know who the Rams line coach was last year, or all the years up until this year?
Offense or defense?
Offense. Rams. No, defense. Defensive
No.
line coach. 2020. I'm trying to figure out who this coach was. I thought he was the D coordinator, but clearly he wasn't because Brandon Staley was. Dietrich, do you know? Like, I really want to know this. It's fine. I'll look it up later. But this guy was a pretty intense coach, and I know he was a defensive coach. I thought he was the coordinator. He wasn't, because Staley was. But he's gone now from the Rams, and I want to say he's an assistant on the Texans, and then it makes more sense now because maybe now he's the defensive coordinator. So that's what I'll do. I'll look up the Texans staff and I'll figure them out. Anyway, all right, let's close it out, Rod, so you can get to bed. It's 1 a.m. where you are.
Well, I head back home in the morning, and I accomplished all the things that I wanted to accomplish with my son today and yesterday. So I'm excited about what the future holds for him. He wants to go into sports management, and the sky's the limit. I feel comfortable with him here. Morgan's a really good school. They're getting a lot of funding and doing some great things with the school. So I'm good with that. I kind of reminisced today about all the hardships I had in the 80s trying to maneuver at Howard, flying out here alone without my parents. My dad was afraid to fly. He was never going to come. He even told me that, son, even for your graduation, I'm afraid to fly. I would not fly out there. And he was dead serious about that. He told me up front. My mom being a single mom.
You talking about God? Go ahead.
My mom being a single mom, but hadn't experienced anything like that. She had went to junior college at the time, here and there, but not in the same way of going to a four-year university and knowing what to expect and all that kind of stuff. So she really didn't know how to guide me on a lot of stuff. And I was a mature kid in high school, but I didn't really know what to expect going 3,000 miles away from home and what I may need for school and that kind of stuff. And now I realize as an older adult that it really helps a kid get off to a good start with parents, make sure that they're set before school starts. I really see the benefits of that. So, kids have it easy now. Register online. really everything for school online before you ever get there, and just worry about moving your clothes and your bedding in, and that's it. Um, that wasn't the case with me. There was none of that. I didn't have a
You guys didn't have electricity and running water, so of course there was none of that. But go ahead.
let you tell it. That outhouse was 4 miles away from my dorm room.
Dorm room, your cave.
Right. But yeah, man, he's got snacks, everything that he would ever need, to keep him through the week, where he doesn't have to spend a bunch of money. Micro fridge, and just small things like that make a huge difference, in how you operate, and especially when you're coming from California going to the East Coast, where you feel every season, and you have to prepare for, versus us preparing for two. Basically, we get summer and spring or fall. But here it's summer, it's fall, it's winter, it's spring. They get them all and have to be prepared for everything. But I feel good knowing he's prepared, and he should really did a good job picking certain things up, from every store she could think of to make sure he had all the things he needed. So can't wait to get home and see my other two and relieve my mom, because she's probably going out her mind with Saucier, there with her, taking her phone and all the things he does.
Yeah.
And just ready to get my football scrimmages and just get back into it and have fun, do what I do. So I'm really gonna miss my son, man. That's gonna weigh on me, but he's doing what he's supposed to do to become a man, so I'm good with that.
Yes, sir.
Now I have to just work on Lauren, because she's next, and spend time with her and help her develop so that she can get to this point. The same thing. And Rod can, school her on what he knows, for when she goes to school. And she may have it different because she's an athlete. She may, be on a team going to college, and that might be a little different experience. And, she can share that with Zaire, depending on what he decides to do. So, the sky's the limit for him. And I'm proud of all the kids that I've watched. I enjoyed Juju's 4 years at Long Beach State, and I like watching Kayla grow and get older and learn and become her own little lady. And Braylon, whenever she pops up, she's not on camera much, but it's exciting to watch these kids grow up and become who we want them to be. I was just having this conversation with this thing with Dr. Dre's daughter has been in the news a lot, with her, being homeless and saying she's coming out in public saying she's living in her SUV, and and I'm like, people don't you don't hold your baby for the first time at the hospital and think, wow, little Michelle, when you get 15, you're really going to be a pain in the ass and you're going to embarrass me. I mean, like, no one thinks the worst of their child, or at least I would think they don't. You don't think your kid is going to be on drugs or be a dope dealer, or you don't think anything like that. You think that one day your kid is going to be somebody special, and everybody wants that, but life doesn't always deal that for you. So, when you get a kid who grows and you can see their maturity and they do what what you really want them to do, man, you just got to count your blessings. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And just ready to get to the house. I'm burned out.
Got you. Well, thank you for that, Rod. And for those of you listening, I know that the first 13 minutes of his 15-minute closeout were painful because he's on an Android and his mic was messed up. But for the last 2 minutes, we were able to hear him clearly. So just bear with him. He's Android for life, like Elaine.
Yeah.
But no, shout out to Rod and Rod's kids and Braylon and Kayla. And so for my closeout, I'm proud of Rod, young Rod, for making it to college and getting dropped off and starting the next journey of his life. And I want him to do well, and I'm sure that he will. And I'm very excited for him, and I'm very excited that he transitioned to the iPhone. And I know that Lauren's next, and then the young Zaire won't be far behind, and then maybe the hard-headed parents will follow soon after. But who knows? Like I said, Rod likes to take pictures like this. So
Yeah.
he also likes Android phones. So
Same back channel. Same back
it's
time.
kind of consistent. So, hey, we appreciate you guys for checking in. Episode 73. Please like, please comment, please share and follow and or subscribe. We appreciate you. We'll be back here next Wednesday. We'll both be in California. Then the following Wednesday, I'll be broadcasting from Rapid City, South Dakota. So thanks again. We appreciate y'all. And we are out. And I am not going to be able to turn this thing off. So I'm just going to have to go a different route. So Rod, I'm going to end the broadcast a weird way. You can't end it, right? You don't have an end broadcast button, right?
Nope.
All right, well, just leave, and I'll leave, and it'll be what it'll be. Thank y'all. We appreciate you. Peace.
Right on. Good night.